All right, now let's get to the motherfucking news. Okay, I know a lot of you are like, "Come on, get to the news, man." And which we will. New U.S. strikes on Iran as Trump speaks out on escalating tensions. And as of this morning, Trump has officially declared the Iran strikes off because he says that Tehran finally got their act together and will concede to American interests. I don't know how reliable an orator Trump is on these events. So, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But put the news in the bag, little bro. Let's get started.
Overnight, U.S. ships and fighter jets launching a wave of attacks targeting Iranian air defenses, surveillance, and communication systems. The president telling Fox News that 49 Tomahawk missiles struck Iran's southwest coast. And the administration now warning Iran that if they don't sign a peace agreement, the U.S. will hammer them again.
If we need to negotiate with bombs, we'll negotiate with bombs.
Instead, Iran has fired back, again launching its own missiles at U.S. bases in Kuwait and Bahrain. All the missiles intercepted, but debris damaging homes, vehicles, and causing minor injuries to a child in Bahrain. These latest attacks come less than 24 hours after U.S. fighter jets struck nearly 20 targets, including Iranian air defense and radar systems near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran releasing unverified video claiming to show the strikes also damaged critical civilian water reservoirs.
Unverified video. So it's probably fake, guys. But also, just to be safe, maybe this was critical infrastructure that was aiding and abetting the IRGC. You know? It's probably fake. America would never hit civilian infrastructure, except for when we do. And then the very same media outlets will turn around and say, well, don't you feel like it was supposed to cripple the drinking water that might make its way to the IRGC? It's Hamas water. It's Hezbollah water. It's water that the IRGC is drinking.
CENTCOM saying they are looking into the report. The U.S. strikes were launched in retaliation.
Yeah, by the way, is it really that strange to assume that America is deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure when the fucking president is openly saying that America is deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure? Is it really that strange? Like, that's our posture. That's literally what we're saying we are doing. So perhaps it's not that strange.
For Iran downing a U.S. Apache helicopter. But the latest strikes intended to pressure Iran, with President Trump growing increasingly impatient.
They keep tapping us along. They keep playing us for suckers.
While these strikes fall short of resuming all-out war.
Also, a heads up, 49 Tomahawk missiles are launched yesterday. It cost a total of $178 million for missiles alone on the conservative end. Yeah. And also, the fact that we're still using standoff munitions that we're depleting that are already in critically low supply. Standoff munitions that are designed specifically for our near-peer and peer adversaries like Russia and China implies that we don't have complete air superiority over Iranian soil. And once again, is another point that suggests that the American military capabilities are nowhere near as great as people previously thought they were, and that they haven't been able to make the significant military achievements. They haven't been able to generate the significant military achievements that they thought they would. They haven't achieved their objectives at all. So, because remember, we have an abundance of gravity munitions, guided, unguided, that we could be dropping on Iranian soil, but that would require flights over Iranian territory, and they're not doing that. And the reason for why they're not doing that is because they're worried about Iranian anti-air defenses, loitering munitions. Iranian standoff capabilities are far better than what America and Israel previously predicted them to be. Obviously, they have a unique mobile system that they deploy when they find it to be necessary. And once again, it's already ridiculous that we're talking about negotiating with bombs. That's not how you negotiate at all.
That is certainly possible. The Iranians now calling the ceasefire meaningless, and the region once again bracing for what may come next. Lindsay?
Disappointment for any hope of diplomacy. Martha Raddatz in Jerusalem for us. Thank you, Martha.
With you in a little bit. We want to bring you some breaking news, though, and that is that in the last few minutes, the U.S. President Donald Trump has taken to his Truth Social platform, and he has posted the following. Based on the fact that discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States of America, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Discussions and final points have been in both concept and great detail approved by all parties involved. And then he goes on to say the blockade will remain in full effect until it's finalized shortly. Let's go to our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. Kimberly, I mean, is this what we expected at all from tonight? What more are we hearing from the White House on this?
Well, we're not hearing anything more from the White House. The U.S. president is the messenger. So what we have heard, though, in the last hour is that there was a lot of effort going on with regard to diplomacy. In fact, the U.S. State Department saying that Secretary Rubio, as well as the U.S. president, have been engaged and remain engaged directly in sort of diplomacy. And so as a result, even though the U.S. president was threatening for there to be a third night of strikes against Iran, that he would hit them very hard, it was clear that what he was doing was trying to get some sort of concession. Now, obviously, that hasn't happened from Iran, but what has happened is that there has been an enormous amount of diplomatic involvement that has taken place, not just by the United States, but also by the U.S. as Arab partners, as well as others that have been in direct contact with Iran. So we're waiting to see what more the White House might have to say about this. But I have to tell you that this action by the U.S. president's not unprecedented. We know that back in his first term, he was threatening strikes on Iran and then just called them off minutes before the launch on June 20th of 2019. He approved retaliatory strikes after Iran shot down a U.S. drone and then canceled them roughly 10 minutes before impact. So it's clear that the U.S. president will, if he believes that.
Yeah, so the American president, Donald Trump, is claiming that a deal is imminent, right? Iran is, of course, predictably disputing it. Here's the Hormuz letter. Breaking, Iran directly rejects Trump's new claims that they reached an agreement to cancel tonight's strikes on Iran, as basically saying no agreement has been approved at all, and all of Trump's words should be disregarded like all his previous 38 times deal imminent announcements over 2 months, per Tasnim news agency. A senior Israeli official also tells Channel 12 that they are not aware of any agreement being reached. Dropsite reports Trump to press defense industry leaders on weapons production as missile stockpiles are shrinking amid the Iran war. Wait, where's the other? Fars news agency says no text on the initial memorandum of understanding with the United States has been approved. A source close to the Islamic Republic of Iran's negotiating team told Fars. An hour earlier, the U.S. president had claimed in a message on the Truth Social network that Iran had agreed at the highest level to a text for an initial memorandum of understanding. Minutes later, in similar statements to the American newspaper, The New York Post, he said that the text in question had been summarized. Trump's claim comes as Iran and the United States endured one of their most intense clashes since the ceasefire was announced on Thursday morning. Fars news agency, given that the United States has accepted Iran's proposed text, the likelihood of the agreement being approved by Tehran's highest decision-making authorities is relatively high. This is only half an hour ago. An informed source told FNA Iran has not approved any draft agreement or initial memorandum with the U.S., contradicting President Trump's claim. So unless Trump is the party that actually agreed to the memorandum of understanding without making significant changes, then there is a potential ceasefire that is in place. And Trump could be positioning this as as coming to terms with the Iranian memorandum of understanding, and then presenting it as though Iran is conceding. At which point, yes, there could be a ceasefire. Having said that, however, Barack Ravid reports, what to watch. The White House has believed the deal was imminent at several points during the conflict, only to see negotiations break down again. Just wait for Barack Ravid to say a deal is imminent. He's laughing at us. Barack Unit 8200 Ravid. Trump just said this. Trump on Iran, Strait of Hormuz will open as soon as we sign. Trump on Iran, deal signing maybe over the weekend. Signing probably in Europe. U.S. VP Vance will be there.
The great settlement of the war with Iran. And we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe. And it's a great thing. Stock market's up 1,000 points. That means they like the deal. See, that means they like, if the market goes down, that means they don't like the deal. But it's been up, oil's dropped. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. We had a great settlement of.
Iran's not playing around this time. Wrong strategies and impulsive decisions will reset the entire board for the worse, explode energy infrastructure and markets, and create an endless quagmire that you will be stuck in for years. You will see a different Iran. He's actively croaking. Yeah, look, man, it's pretty simple. I'm a simple guy, okay? I've heard this 38 times already. We all have heard this on 38 separate instances. Okay? 38 times. When the ink is dry and the American forces are retreating from the region, I'll believe it. Until that moment, I'm not believing it. Okay? I'm in a state of disbelief. 38 fucking times this dumbass has said a deal is imminent. And Barack Ravid has tweeted a deal is imminent. Okay? Kind of tough for me to look at a boy who cried wolf style scenario 38 fucking times, you know? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again. That's what George W. Bush said. Okay? Fool me 38 times. At that point, I might be an analyst at Wall Street who is no longer looking at market fundamentals at all. Okay? Fool me 38 motherfucking times, and that means I want to be fooled. Fool me 38 times, and my name might as well be Barack Unit 8200 Ravid. I'm working for Axios, and my job is to basically copy paste whatever the fucking White House emails me. What a crock of shit this has been. Anyway, here's what Trump had to say about people not believing him.
We have a signing soon, and the documents are in pretty final shape. So we'll see. We'll see. Very good. Should be done. And should be done pretty quickly. They want it every bit as much as everybody else wants it. And I think a lot of good relationships. But we have a signing soon.
What are we signing, bro? What are we signing? Actually, what are we signing? Anyway, on the other hand, Trump obviously is experiencing a little bit more pressure because our productive capabilities are not keeping up with our unlimited appetite for death and destruction. All at the behest of Israel, of course. Because, as I've reported on over and over again, we have a limited number of standoff munitions, and it's actually exceptionally difficult to resupply and to produce additional Tomahawk missiles. We're burning through them way faster than we can produce new ones. Leaders of Trump is pressing the defense industry leaders on weapons production as missile stockpiles shrink amid Iran war. Okay. Leaders of 7 key defense companies are expected to meet with President Donald Trump at the White House later this week as the administration confronts growing alarm over thinning U.S. munitions stockpiles, NBC News reported. Trump has expressed anger to aides over the depleted arsenal as he weighs continued major combat operations against Iran. The Pentagon has yet to sign any new multi-year contracts to replenish munitions since Trump took office. NBC reported in May, having entered only non-binding framework agreements. The U.S. has been drawing down weapon stockpiles from Europe and Asia to sustain the Iran campaign. A Center for Strategic International Studies study found particular shortfalls in long-range precision weapons, including Tomahawks, Patriot missiles, and THAAD interceptors. Okay? There's also the Trump Q&A now, so let's get to it.
This is a massive win for our fishermen, massive win for our waterfront communities who process it, all these processors. And in the end, we are going to eat fish caught by us. What a shock. Eating fish caught by us in our waters. So this is just common sense, smart. We already have the best conservation rules in the world, and this was one on top of another on top of another. So thank God from the fisherman's perspective, and I get these calls all the time, that President Donald Trump is in this office because he's finally letting our great fishermen and fisherwomen get out there and catch fish and stop importing fish. Let's eat fish caught by America.
Oh, I fucking hate butt lick. Okay, that's beast mode.
Trump's leadership.
Coming to the White House in this garb is actually crazy.
He was going to roll back these job-killing, community-killing, industry-killing jobs. He's done that last year with executive orders, doing it today with his proclamation. So I want to say thank you to President Trump. I want to say thank you to my great friend, Secretary Lutnick in Commerce. We have dual responsibilities across Commerce and Interior related to fish. And of course, with our partners in the Pacific, because American Samoa, Guam, the Commonwealth of Northern Marianas Islands. We've got the Congresswoman here from Northern Marianas Islands. These are all American citizens. As Howard said, this is U.S. territorial waters, and they were closed to us and open to others. And that makes no sense. We've reversed that around. And so again, as you see around us, the jobs that are created in this industry are often second, third, fourth, and fifth generation family businesses. And these folks not only risk their lives, they risk their own personal capital to help feed America. They're the farmers of the sea. Just like President Trump's behind our farmers and ranchers, he's behind our fishermen. He's making sure that America is great. This brings back healthy food for our schools, our military, all the things that we're working on with Secretary Kennedy and with Pete Hegseth. So this is a win-win-win across the board. Again, thank you, President Trump. Thank you, Howard. Great day for America.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, this is another example of America First, to be honest with you. Alaska provides 60% of the country's seafood. We're the state with halibut, salmon, king crab, you name it, comes from Alaska. Fishing in Alaska is one of the oldest industries in that entire state, employs thousands of individuals. Everyone has had fish from Alaska, we know that. But this is an example, again, putting America first, workers first, and really this country first. And so on behalf of Alaska, on behalf of all fishermen and women, I want to thank you for what you're doing for this country and for the state of Alaska as well.
Governor, was this shutdown, I mean, it's just so hard to believe, so this was trauma for your industry, which is a big industry.
Well, your deregulation is what really helps Alaska and helps the fishermen. The country doesn't need more regulation. We need less regulation, and that includes for this industry as well. And so from that perspective, and it's across the board, we could talk about oil and gas and so forth, but this is about fish. But your deregulation approach is really what we need. We don't need more cost, and as you said, we probably don't need electric boats either. We need to focus on getting seafood to Americans, putting people to work, and this is exactly what this does.
Okay,
So
there's literally nothing in this Q&A so far. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's continue with the Iran deal, and then once the media has some fucking questions that he's answering, then we'll get to it, okay?
Back. He's always said he doesn't like war, but he also feels sometimes that it's necessary. It's that peace through strength mantra that he says that he is delivering on, and this would be further evidence of that.
Kimberly, it just seems like we hear something from the U.S. president every couple of days that a deal is imminent, and so far this deal hasn't materialized at all. I think it was just a couple of days ago where he said there were no sticking points left at all. I mean, do we have an idea of, clearly there were sticking points, of what those were and why it has taken so long, given the president insists they are so close to get to this point, assuming that we actually do have a deal?
The U.S. president is very much a cheerleader. He does like to project optimism. And so there's no question that this is a deal that is close, but getting it across the finish line seems to be the biggest challenge. And so as a result, the U.S. president continues to effort that, but at the same time is once again threatening strikes that he has now just called off, something that we've seen him do before in order to try and get the concessions that he wants. Now, in terms of the rhetoric, well, Donald Trump is known to use bombastic language. Well, behind the scenes, there are teams that are quietly working, trying to work out those details of a potential agreement. But again, as you point out, we've heard this before. We've heard that an agreement is imminent, only for it not to materialize. And so the bottom line is that the devil is always in the details, which have appeared to be elusive in terms of getting this Iran agreement thus far.
Seems exactly right. All right, Kimberly Honkett, stay with us for a second. Let's go to El-Migdad El-Rahaid. He's in Tehran.
Israeli officials denying it? I mean, that doesn't mean anything either. Again, a senior Israeli official tells Channel 12 that they're not aware of any agreement, but they don't need to know. They're not on a need-to-know basis. If Trump actually secures a final deal, I'm sure the Israelis won't know about it until the ink is drying, and they'll freak the fuck out about it, and they'll ruin it, which is precisely the reason why I tell you that the only thing to pay attention to is troop positions, okay? Like, where are the naval assets? Which direction are they heading? And not only that, but also, how much are they complaining? Hassan supports terrorism, says this guy, Mariah Joe, who is live right now, which is interesting. I do not support the Israeli state. So, no. And I don't support when the American state does acts of terrorism against the Iranian civilian infrastructure, for example. So you're wrong.